Hey guys, it's Mrs. Longmire here. In our previous sets of lessons, we've talked about using our reading voice, the one that reads the words, and our thinking voice, the one that thinks the thoughts and whispers those thinking voice thoughts while we're reading. But we've always talked about using your reading voice and thinking voice in just one text, one book, or one picture. We've always used one source. Well, today we're going to talk about how readers sometimes juggle text. That, if you've seen somebody juggle, they've got more than one ball that they're juggling. We're going to learn about how readers juggle text. Sometimes you have more than one text that you're reading. And you might think, why? Why would you read two different books at the same time? Well, sometimes readers want to learn as much as they can about something. Say you're studying about sharks. Do you think you're going to learn everything that you need to know in one book about sharks? No. You're going to want to read a couple of different books, or maybe find a magazine about sharks, or get online and find a YouTube video on sharks, and then read a National Geographic about sharks. You're going to look at lots of different texts so that you can learn everything that you need to know about sharks. That might be one reason when you want to learn as much as you can about something. Or sometimes readers read at two different texts to compare them, to see, what do these two books or texts have the same? What do they have that's different? If you're reading literature or fiction, you may want to look and see, do they have any of the same characters? Or is there anything that's the same about the setting or the problem or the lesson they learn? You want to look at two things and see, do they have anything that's the same? And what's different, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how readers compare. We're going to use two different sources to compare. So I'm going to take Juggle down and I'm going to put up the word compare. We're going to compare two different texts. And some people may say, okay, so do I read the first page of this book and use my thinking voice, and then open up another book and read the first page of this book and use my thinking voice and go back and forth each page? No, that would get too confusing for a reader. We need to read the whole text, read the whole thing and use our thinking voice and finish that book, and then read another book and use our thinking voice all the way through that book. Then you can compare and see what was the same and what was different. Okay, so we're going to read and list all the details from the first book. We'll call it text A. Okay, and we're going to use red for text A. Then you're going to read and list all your thinking voice thoughts about text B next. So you're going to do it in order. You're going to read one text, the whole thing, and list your reading voice and thinking voice thoughts. And then you're going to read the second text, the whole thing, and list your reading voice and thinking voice thoughts from text B. And we're actually going to give you a tool today. It's called a T-chart. And it's such a great tool to use when you're comparing two different things, because it helps you see and organize your thoughts about those two different things. And so if I were reading text A, or today we're going to talk about topics, so I'm going to call it topic A. We're going to look at topic A. I would list all of my details and my thinking voice thoughts about topic A underneath topic A on this side. Okay? All my reading voice and thinking voice details about text A. And then over here on topic B, the second topic, we're going to list all of our reading voice and thinking voice details underneath it. Okay? And so you probably think, well, what goes in the middle? What goes in the middle of this T-chart? And that is going to be your categories. So say you were looking at two different stories. That's where one category might be the characters. You're going to look and compare the characters that were in the first book and then the second book. Or it might be the setting, or it might be the problem, or the lesson they learned. Those are the types of categories that you would have in the middle if you were comparing two different fiction books. Okay? Or today, we're just going to compare two different types of food. We're going to look at snacks and food, and we're going to compare one type of food to another type of food. So the categories that we have down the middle are things like, what does it look like? What does it taste like? When would you eat it? Those types of things. Those are the categories. Those are the types of details that you're looking for. So you would do all about text A or topic A first. Then you would read and you would list all the details about topic B second. Then you would look row by row at categories. And look, that will help you to see what's the same and what's different. It's really easy to look at two things that aren't very much alike that you kind of think, how would they even, and figure out what's different. That's easy to find what's different. That's more obvious sometimes. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to see what do they have that's the same. Okay? And we have to really use our thinking voice to do that, to figure out what is the same. Okay? And so I'm going to show you what this could look like. You're going to watch me first. Okay? And then you're going to get a chance to try it. So I've got another bigger T-chart over here that we're going to use. Okay? And the two items that we're going to compare first are pizza. Everybody likes to eat pizza, right? It's actually pepperoni pizza. And I wrote it in red because that's our topic A. So I'm going to put pizza. That's on the left side of the T-chart. And then on the right side, we're going to look at ice cream. An ice cream cone, right? So I've got the ice cream cone. And I wrote the word ice cream in blue because this is our second topic, our blue topic. Okay, so we're going to look at pizza and ice cream. Now, let's think about the categories that we're going to look at first, okay? We're going to look at what does it look like? The color, the shape, the details. What does it look like? And then we're going to look at what does it taste like? Is it sweet? Is it salty? Is it spicy? Those kind of things. Then when do you eat it? When would you eat it? Would it be morning, afternoon, evening? Is it a meal? Is it a snack? When do you eat it? And then we're going to look at the temperature. Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it warm? What is the temperature of that food? Okay, so those are the categories we're going to look at. Now, we're going to do pizza first, and we're going to collect all the details about pizza and put it on this side. And then we're going to think about ice cream, pretend like we read a book about ice cream, and we're going to collect all the details about ice cream over on this side. And then we're going to go look row by row and see what do they have the same. Okay, so you just watch. All right, so let me think about pizza. What does pizza look like? Well, I know most of the time the slices are cut in a triangle, like the picture. Triangle, I'm going to put that up there. What else? It usually has some circles. This one has circles because it has pepperonis on it. Sometimes the pizza's in one big circle too, right? So triangle, circle, colors. Let me think. It's red. A lot of times it has sauce or pepperonis that are red. So I'm going to put red. Crust, that's brown. Usually the crust is brown. Or sometimes the cheese gets a little brown, right? And then white also is pick that one up. It's not wanting to stick. Brown. And then white, because the cheese is usually white, right? So I have brown and white and red. Circles and triangles. And then a lot of times pizza has toppings, right? Like pepperonis or mushrooms or sausage, peppers, right? So toppings. So it's red, and brown and white, circles and triangles, and it has toppings, okay? Now, what does it taste like? Let me think about pizza. What does pizza taste like? Well, it's usually salty or spicy if you get a spicy type of sauce. So I wrote salty and spicy. I'm going to put that on this row. What does it taste like? It's salty or spicy. When do you eat it? Well, usually pizza you would eat at lunch or dinner. It's usually a meal, right? Sometimes it could be a snack, but it's usually in the afternoon or at night. You don't normally eat pizza in the morning. Some might eat it for breakfast, but typically people eat it for lunch or dinner, and so afternoon or evening. And the temperature. Most people like their pizza hot, right? Hot. So or warm, but you usually don't like to eat your pizza cold. So most people like it hot. So if I look at all the details that I collected about pizza, red and white and brown, triangles and circles, and it has toppings, spicy and salty. You eat it at lunch or dinner, and afternoon or evening, and you like it hot. Okay. So now I'm going to look at all the details about ice cream that I can collect. So let me think about, what does ice cream look like? Well, this ice cream cone is white and brown, right? The ice cream is white, the cone is brown. It has some toppings on it, some sprinkles, and those are different, like rainbow. I put rainbow toppings. What shape? Let me think about that. It's got triangle-shaped cone. The cone is kind of a triangle-shaped, and the scoop is sort of round or circles, right? So I've got round, circles, triangles, white, brown, and like rainbow toppings, okay? What does it taste like? Let me think about ice cream. What does ice cream taste like? Usually it's sweet. Sometimes you can get sour ice cream if you get like a sherbet orange or like a lime or something like that. It could be sour, but most of the time it's sweet. But I put sweet and sour. And then when do you eat ice cream? Well, I think of ice cream mostly as a snack or dessert, right? Something after you eat your meal. So I put snack time, dessert, but it's afternoon or evening usually that you eat ice cream. You don't normally eat ice cream in the morning for breakfast time. And temperature, well, you have to have your ice cream cold, like freezing cold, right? Or it would be soup. So I wrote cold with a little snowman there so we know that we want it cold. Now, when you think about pizza and ice cream, you wouldn't think they would have too many things that's the same. But let's go row by row and see if they do have anything that's the same. What does it look like? Well, circles and triangles. Oh, this one has circles and triangles. Brown. Oh, this one's got some brown. White. Pizza has toppings, and ice cream has toppings like sprinkles. So they do have some things that are similar, don't they? Color, similar shapes, toppings. You put toppings on top of it. Okay, let's look at the next row. What does it taste like? Well, pizza is usually salty or spicy, and ice cream is usually sweet or sour. So they really don't have anything that's the same in taste. Now, sometimes you can get a dessert pizza or a fruit pizza, and it'll be sweet, but most of the time it's salty or spicy. So you could, if you had a dessert pizza, you could say they were both sweet. When do you eat it? Well, pizza is usually afternoon or night, and so is ice cream usually afternoon or night. Now, one's a meal and one's a snack, but usually the time of day could be the same when you would eat pizza and ice cream. And then temperature, well, they don't really have anything the same that's the temperature unless you like cold, freezing pizza, right? But mostly pizza's hot and ice cream's cold. So when you think about pizza and ice cream, you might think, oh, one's hot, one's cold, one's sweet, one's spicy. But when you look at it this way, when you use the T-chart and you pull all the details out that you can about each category, we find that they do have some things that are in common, some things that are similar. Are you ready to try it? Well, I'm taking these off. I'm going to tell you that the next thing we're going to compare that you're going to help me with is peanut butter crackers. You ever had a peanut butter cracker? They come in these little packages like this. And Oreo cookies. Peanut butter crackers and Oreo cookies. So I want you to think about that for a second. While I take these down, kind of think about what they may have that's the same and what they may have that's different. Okay. Are you thinking about Oreos and peanut butter crackers? Okay. All right. So if I put peanut butter crackers on this side, I wrote it in red. It's our red topic. And I've got a picture of peanut butter crackers. I'm going to put it over here on this side. And then over on the right side, I'm going to put Oreo, the word Oreo in blue. This is our blue topic, and a picture of an Oreo. Now the categories, I'm going to tell you the categories, and I want you to think. What does it look like? Shapes, colors. When would you eat it? With a little clock. When would you eat it? And what does it taste like? What does it taste like? Okay, so I want you to think about peanut butter crackers first. Think about peanut butter crackers and think about what it looks like. Think about what it looks like from the side, from the front, colors, shapes. You think about that for a second. Okay. Did you say it's brown? Great job. I have brown. What else did you say about peanut butter crackers? What shape? Did you say it's circle or round? Great job. And then what do you think it looks like from the side? What does it look like? Did you say it has layers or it's stacked? Like it's one cracker and then peanut butter in the middle and then a cracker on top, sort of in layers. A cracker, peanut butter, and a cracker, right? It's stacked. Great job. Great details you collected about peanut butter crackers and what they look like. Now let's think about when you eat it. When would you eat a peanut butter cracker? Think about that. Did you say it's a snack? Or if you're my children, sometimes they'll eat them for lunch. A lot of times peanut butter has protein in it. So instead of eating a peanut butter sandwich, they'll eat it for lunch. But it's usually a snack or lunch, right? Afternoon or evening, usually. Okay, great job. And then what do you think it tastes like when you bite into a peanut butter cracker? What does it taste like? Did you say it's salty? Yeah, it's salty usually because the peanuts are kind of salty and the peanut butter and crackers are usually salty. It's kind of salty, isn't it? Okay, we've collected all the details about peanut butter crackers on this side. Now let's move over to Oreos and we'll collect all the details about Oreos on the right side. So think about Oreos. What do they look like? What do you think? What colors? Did you say black and white? Great job. Black and white. What else? What shape? Did you say they're circle or round? Great job. Black and white. They're a circle or round shaped. And what about from the side? What does an Oreo look like from the side? Did you say layers? Yeah, they're stacked, right? You have the cookie on the bottom, the icing in the middle, and the cookie on the top. It's a layer, isn't it? Great job. Now, when do you eat it? When do you eat an Oreo cookie? Did you say as a snack time, or as dessert after your meal, after your lunch or dinner? So afternoon or evening. Great job. Or afternoon or evening. It's a snack or a dessert, so it's afternoon or evening. And what does an Oreo taste like? Hopefully you've had a chance to eat an Oreo. What does it taste like? Did you say sweet? Yeah, sweet. The icing is sweet. You could probably say chocolatey. Tastes like chocolate. I'm going to write that. Sweet, chocolate, kind of sugary taste, right? Great job. Thank you for helping me collect details about Oreos on that side. Now let's compare row by row and see if they have anything that's the same. Look like. Do you see anything that's the same in that top row? Did you say they're both round, a circle shape? Great. Did you say they both have layers? They both are stacked layers on top of each other? Great job. So they do have something that's the same there, don't they? They have layers and they're round. Great job. Let's look at the next row. When do you eat it? Do you see anything that's the same in the second row? They're both snacks, aren't they? They can both be snacks. I would say you could eat both of them in the afternoon or the evening time. So they do have something alike, don't they? They both are snacks and you eat them in the afternoon and evening. Taste. Do they have anything that's the same in taste? Yeah, those are pretty different, aren't they? One is salty and one is more sweet and chocolatey. So they are really different in how they taste, but they do have some of the same things and how they look and when you would eat them. Great job. Do you see how that T chart really helps us to organize the details so we can see if there's anything that's the same? Now, if you were in Mrs. Longmire's class, next I would have you practice this some more with another T chart comparing two different things. If you look on the screen, I'm going to have this, but if you don't have a printer, you don't have to print this out. You could just have a piece of paper and draw some lines and make your own little T chart. One side would be summer break. And you're going to put what you're doing, where you're at, and who you're with on summer break during the summer when you're off of school. And then on the right side is going to be winter break. You know, that break usually over Christmas and New Year's holidays where you're off from school. What are you doing? Where are you? And who are you with? And you may think summer break and winter break, they have nothing that's the same. But when you break it down by categories, I think you'll find some similarities, some things that are the same about summer break and winter break. So if you were in Mrs. Longmire's class, that's what I would have you do next. But your teacher might have an even better idea.